Hello world, I'm coming to you live from my kitchen and I'm here to make a Wentworth related video. I'm going to get straight to the point. This video is going to be a recap of my Wentworth fan fiction titled The Reckoning. So world, first of all, before I even go on, I just want to say thanks to everybody who enjoyed the fan fiction. Thank you so much. I had so much fun making up this fucking story. So the way that I chose to share this fan fiction with you guys was like if it was actual episodes. Season 2 is going to be told a little differently. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I had a hard time getting my point across in this first season. A lot of things that I wanted to convey via the editing, you guys didn't catch. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I realized that my story was missing a narrator. Now, when I wrote the story, there was definitely a narrator. But when I did the editing process, I ended up just cutting out all the narration to make it look like an actual episode. And that was a big mistake because there were so many parts of the story that I wasn't able to tell you through the editing process. So I would have been able to tell you had I kept the narrator in. You know, you live and you learn. So now that it's over, now that season 1 is over and all 10 episodes are out, I want to break it down to you guys if there was anything that you missed, because I know that there was a lot that you guys missed. Whether it be because you just didn't realize or if my editing skills suck, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the fucking case may be, you're going to find out right now exactly what happened. So my story begins on Christmas Eve. You know what I'm saying? The women come back to Wentworth 4 months after the explosion in the prison. The prison's been rebuilt. And, you know, all of our favorites are back. If they survived, then they're in my story, along with some old characters who I threw in the mix as well. So, boom, the story begins on Christmas Eve, and we see that everyone's back. And the main storyline for the first episode was Vera and her cat. So she receives her cat's tail as a Christmas gift, along with a note. And, you know, we all believed that it was Joan Ferguson who kidnapped Vera's cat, cut off the cat's tail, and send it to her as a fucking holiday present, all right? Fast forward to the very last episode, we find out it was not Joan Ferguson who did this. It was Jake who did it. Why? Because he is desperate for his family, to have his family back, and he wanted to scare Vera into thinking that she needed a man in the house. Once he was back in the house, he could wiggle his way in back into her heart. You know what I'm saying? If you watch the final episode, then you know that it didn't work, but it kind of worked, but it all went left in the end. You know what I'm saying? I did that because I knew everyone would think that it was Joan who took Vera's cat and cut off the damn tail. But alas, it wasn't Joan. So like a plot twist. I threw that in there as a plot twist. So the reason why the youths are in there is because, as you all know, Wentworth, the Fall Girl, the Audible podcast spin-off thing that Wentworth came out with, it ends with a character named Irina Milenkovic threatening Frankie's life. She basically threatens Bridget that she's gonna hurt Frankie if Bridget doesn't follow her commands. So I was like, yo, that's so interesting. And I'm still waiting for the second installment of, you know, these Wentworth Audible podcast stories, but whatever. I said to myself, what if Bridget doesn't listen? You know what I'm saying? Then what happens? Then this Irina Milenkovic chick is stuck in prison. And then what? You know what I'm saying? So one day I was thinking, I was like, and then what is, and then she turns 18. And if she turns 18, she's going to be transferred to an adult prison, Wentworth. So that's how that whole storyline with the Russians came to be. And I also decided to go with, you know, Russians because Joan Ferguson was born in Russia. If you look at her bio, Joan Ferguson, the character's bio, she was born in Russia, okay? I am also learning how to speak Russian. Привет. I wanted to practice my Russian language speaking skills. So the Joan Ferguson Milenkovic connection. So the way that Wentworth ended, you know, the series, it ended it with Joan having like kind of turned over a new leaf, but not really. She still had her murderous tendencies, but she chose not to kill Vera. She realized, you know, that, I don't know, something clicked inside her mind after the amnesia and living inside Kath Maxwell for so long. Something clicked, and Joan, I think, just wants to be a kinder, gentler version of herself, but she is down to kill and destroy if need be. You know what I'm saying? I love that. I love that. Because you can be a kind and gentle soul, but you can also take no shit. You know what I'm saying? Does it mean you gotta go around snapping people's necks? No. But, you know, whatever. I said to myself, how fun would it be if these fucking little teenage bratty bitches were related to Joan. You know what I'm saying? So I said, all right, here we go. Here we go. I'm giving Joan an entire backstory. So Joan's backstory, this was my favorite part of the whole fan fiction. Joan's backstory is she was born to a Russian mob family. Her family, the Milenkoviches, they were at war with another Russian family, the Dragoviches, okay? We all remember Drago and what happened to her, right? I said, why does she have to die? You know what I'm saying? Let's have her character live on in some way, shall we? I liked Drago. So I bring the bitch in this way. The Milenkoviches and the Dragoviches were beefing. And Joan and Sasha were babies. They were twin sisters born to the Milenkovich family, you know what I'm saying? And during this war of the Russian crime families, the kids had to be taken away for safety. In the middle of the war, the parents decided we're stronger together and we want our children back. You know what I'm saying? They went, they picked up Sasha, everything was fine. When they go to pick up Joan, the family that she was left with, which was Ivan Ferguson, okay, and his wife, they ended up fleeing Russia. And so no one heard from them again until years later when Joan finds out who she really is. And then she goes to Russia to see her real family, insults them, and says, I don't want anything to do with you. Then she comes back to Australia and begins this life as a fucking CO in the prisons, okay? Working herself up the ranks until she's fucking the governor of Wentworth Correctional Center. Joan ends up calling Sasha because she needs her help. You know what I'm saying? She finds herself a fugitive. She needs monetary assistance, okay? She calls her sister for help. Her sister just so happens to be coming to Australia because her daughter, Irina, and her niece, Mila, are in Wentworth Correctional Center, and Sasha has come to break them out of jail. Now we have the two sisters, Sasha and Joan. They're at odds. Eventually, they come together with a mutual understanding that, you know, they just want to be a family. They want a happy fucking ending. Joan just wants her family. So her and Sasha end up making amends. You know what I'm saying? And Joan helps her to go forth with her plan, Sasha's plan of breaking her daughter and niece out of prison. So the plan was to have the girls come down for a visit with their lawyers, who aren't really their lawyers, but Sasha's like henchmen, all right? And then they recruited Linda Miles to help them with the escape. So Linda Miles was to set off a smoke bomb in the visitor's room, causing chaos and confusion. In the midst of all the chaos, she was going to lead the girls and the guy and the two pretend lawyers out of the VI room where there would have been a brawler waiting outside in Sallyport, okay, to take them to rendezvous point number 1, where they would have, you know, switched vehicles, and in that vehicle they would have driven to the airport and they would have gone back home to Russia. If you watched the fan fiction, then you saw that the plan went left. The plan goes left. Why? Because Sasha is arrested. She's falsely identified as being Joan Ferguson when in reality she's her twin sister. So she ends up in Wentworth. And then what happens? She is murdered in the showers, shivved with a fucking fork. Somebody took a fork and turned it into a shiv. They stabbed her in the showers with the damn fork. This is why I've been saying since the beginning of time that I don't think it's a good idea for Wentworth Correctional Center to be letting the women eat with metal cutlery, okay? I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've probably said it thrice, okay? They should be eating with fucking plastic cutlery, not metal utensils. What the fuck, Wentworth? So that's what happens there. So going into season 2 is going to be one of the major storylines in season 2 is going to be who killed Sasha, all right? So now how does Drago fit into this whole thing? If you remember, during some of the episodes, we would see Dr. Miller coming to visit Mila Milenkovich in the prison. And as their visits continue, we find out that Dr. Miller is Mila's father, okay? Which makes him Joan and Sasha's brother, their little brother. His real name is Dmitry Milenkovich. He ended up not wanting to have anything to do with his family anymore. Why, you ask? I'm going to tell you why. He doesn't want anything to do with his family because his family threatened to kill the love of his life at the time. Who was the love of his life? Drago. Zara Dragovich, okay? She was the lone survivor of the massacre. You know what I'm saying? The war between the Milenkovich and the Dragovich's families. It lasted years. At the end of it all, you know, the Dragoviches, the last of the Dragovich family is killed, which is the head. But hiding underneath the bed was his 2-year-old daughter, Zara. So now 20 years later, she's an adult, and so is Dr. Miller. They meet up, they fall in love. She gets pregnant and gives birth to Mila. Okay, but then the Milenkovich family threatens to have her killed. So Dr. Miller and Zara decide that it's best if they leave Mila with the Milenkoviches and they just go off on the run. You know what I'm saying? Now, when they go off on the run, we know what happens next. So Drago ends up realizing that she's a lesbian, okay? She meets Mari. She starts working for Mari. She falls in love with Mari. She throws Dr. Miller to the side, okay? And goes to lead a life of crime, being Mari's, you know, muscle and shit. And so Dr. Miller ends up, you know, falling out of love with Zara. He doesn't give two fucks about Zara. By the time he comes to work in Wentworth, he doesn't give a shit about any of it. Maybe I could have worked that part of the story out a little bit better. But at this point, fuck it, okay? So during the visits with Dr. Miller and Mila, we find out that Dr. Miller has his own plan. So he knows all about Sasha's plan to break the girls out of prison. And so he decides that once they get to rendezvous point number 1, where they're going to switch vehicles, he's going to be there. He wants to kill Sasha. He wants to kill Sasha. He wants the Milenkovich fortune all to himself. So his plan is to get rid of his sister, all right? He's going to go back to Moscow with Mila. Together, they're going to live with, you know, the grandmother, Mila's grandmother, Dr. Miller's mother, and they're going to just live happily ever after, inheriting the fortune, the family fortune. So what ends up happening is that does not happen. Why? Because Sasha ends up in jail. So Dr. Miller wanted to kill Sasha and Mila wanted to kill Irina. That's one of the conversations that they have. She was like, bring me a pistol and bring me an extra long knife. You know what I'm saying? Because she was going to have at it. Mila has been secretly jealous of Irina this whole entire time, like her whole entire life. And so this was Dr. Miller and Mila's chance, you know, to reign supreme in the Milenkovich family. But everything goes left because, you know, Sasha gets arrested. So during one of the visits between Dr. Miller and Mila, Dr. Miller informs Mila of who her mother was. Her mother was Zara Dragovich, a former inmate of Wentworth Correctional Center who was beaten to a bloody pulp, okay, beaten to death in the halls of Wentworth by a former inmate and ex-police officer, Rita Connors. So now, let's talk a little bit about Boomer. So Boomer, basically in this season, she just was there, you know what I'm saying, to add some comedic relief here and there. And she was just there minding her business. But in season 2, Boomer has a story. But for season 1, she was just laying low, okay? But you'll see what ends up happening with Boomer come next season, because I didn't forget about Boomer. Along with Irina and Mila, I also introduced 2 other youth offenders, Nancy Boyaz and Cassie Ray. So Cassie Ray, she was manipulated by Mila into bashing Nancy. Cassie is basically this character who is easily manipulated. She doesn't know who she is. She's very unsure of herself. You know what I'm saying? She's very frightened. She doesn't really have... She's pussy. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't really know what to do. And so she's easily manipulated and influenced. And she is like... We don't know much about Cassie. We don't know where she's from. We don't know what she's done. We don't know what she's going to do. Cassie is just like this character who we just don't know. But come season 2, you're going to know exactly who Cassie is. Nancy was the love interest of Irina. And then so at some point leaves Irina and goes and gets together with Cassie. So Cassie, Nancy, and Irina, they had sort of like a little love triangle going on. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, Mila influences Cassie into bashing Nancy. Nancy ends up in a wheelchair and in H1. So now Nancy and Allie are forming like a friendship. Will it just be a friendship? Will it become something romantical? You have to watch season 2 in order to find out. So let's talk a little bit about Bridget, Erica, and Frankie. So in my fan fiction, I decided that Bridget does not comply with Irina's requests to follow her commands and get her and Mila the fuck out of prison. So Irina and Mila end up in Wentworth, and then Bridget is out in the free world. So she thinks that there's going to be no repercussions. But these youth offenders, Irina is not playing any games. Irina, with the help of her mother, Sasha, sets Bridget up for a murder. So Bridget and Frankie went out to go have lunch, and when Bridget's in her car, you know what I'm saying, some car ends up coming and hits her. So they crash, and then there's an explosion, and the driver of the car is killed. Sasha hired this guy to crash into Bridget's car. The man did not know that there was going to be a bomb planted in his car that would go off upon impact. You know what I'm saying? So Bridget ends up in Wentworth, an inmate charged with drunk driving and vehicular manslaughter. All right? She wasn't drunk. She had just had a glass of wine, but you know, the liquor was in her system. Frankie hears about this, and so she wants to be closer to Bridget. She wants to be in the prison to make sure that these bitches don't fuck with her, to make sure that Bridget is safe, and she convinces Will Jackson to hire her as the new prison legal aid. And it works, okay? And so now Frankie is the new legal aid working in the prison. And then who is the new general manager of the prison? Fucking Erica Davidson with her fucking ass, okay? She pisses me off. I don't even know why I included her in my fan fiction. I know exactly why I included her in my fan fiction, because I have a story to tell, okay? Wentworth Life just made a video talking all about Erica Davidson and what happened to her. And he asked the question, was she bisexual? Was she a lesbian? Like, what was she deep down inside? For me, in my opinion, I think that she was deep down inside a lesbian. Frankie was slowly bringing it to the surface, but she didn't know what to do with these feelings, thoughts, and emotions. She needed some time. So in my fan fiction, she comes to Wentworth, full-blown lesbian, okay? She done found herself. So Erica is in the prison. She's being like a fucking carifreca, letting Bridget know how much of a lucky woman she is to be with Frankie and So basically, that was me letting you guys know that Erica is on the prowl, and she wants her some Frankie Doyle. So Erica convinces Frankie to move in with her because Frankie is still in danger. Irina is still intent on killing Frankie in retaliation for Bridget not helping her. Frankie reluctantly agrees, and she's gonna move in with Erica. She tells Bridget, Bridget warns her, this bitch wants to fuck you, so watch your poon. And Frankie's like, listen, she could never, my heart belongs to you. Come season 2, one of the questions is Frankie gonna have an affair? Will Erica be able to seduce Frankie? I don't know. So now I want to talk a little bit about Ruby, Rita, and Will Jackson. In my fan fiction, Ruby and Rita were released. You know what I'm saying? But Rita was only released temporarily. But she has to come back to prison to do time for the murder of Drago. One day, Rita is out and about. She's going to pick up some food and have a drink, and she sees Will Jackson in the sports bar. So they're happy to see each other. Will Jackson has just ordered himself a plate of wings, chicken wings. He invites Rita to sit down with him and have some beer and wings. They end up sitting down. They have their fucking food. They're drinking beers, drinking shots, okay? And all of a sudden, they look at each other with this look like, damn. Will looks at Rita like, damn, Rita, you're beautiful. And Rita looks at Will like, Jesus Christ, Will Jackson, how handsome are you? And they kiss. And then they have sex. Steamy sex. I wanted them to be involved romantically because there was a scene in season 9 when Rita's wearing the teal and they're out in the yard and they just gave each other these loving looks and smiles. And I said, well, would you take a look at that? They would have made a great couple. So in my fan fiction, they're not a couple, but they had sex. Would it lead to anything? You know what I'm saying? Or won't it? We know Rita's coming back into Wentworth to serve her time. You know what I'm saying? Because of Drago. So how will the relationship with Will and Rita continue in Wentworth after they've had sex in the real world? You know what I'm saying? And while we're on the subject with Rita, will Rita be safe in Wentworth? Because Mila now knows that Rita is the one who killed her mother. And Rita will be entering Wentworth come season 2. Will there be beef between Rita and Mila? Will Mila want to retaliate and seek revenge against Rita for killing her mother? The mother she never knew? All right, so now I think I have saved the best for last, which is my precious baby love, Luke Kelly. So Luke Kelly's storyline, man. Oh, God, I love her. I love her so much, and I just want her to win. And so being that I love her, I figured the only way that I could ever kiss Luke Kelly is if I write myself into the fan fiction. So I am also in the fan fiction. I play myself, Michelle Ramirez, but that's where the similarities end. My characters only similarity to me in my real life is the name. I've given her my name, Michelle Ramirez, and that's where the similarities end. She's her own character, okay? We don't know much about Michelle except for the fact that she lived in Australia as a youth and was best friends with Lou Kelly and Boomer. So Michelle comes back to Australia, but we don't really know why she's back in Australia. But she's there. She reaches out to Lou and writes her a letter. So Lou is in prison. She reads this letter. She's overwhelmed with joy because she remembers Michelle. And I also wanted to write in some scenes between Boomer and Lou where we get a little glimpse of their friendship. You know what I'm saying? And what their friendship used to be in the past. And we find out that Lou and Michelle were like an item back in the day, but it was like a sweet young thing. We've never been intimate because we were young, okay? We just kissed and fooled around. Lou is in prison and she receives a visit from Judy Bryant's father. Judy Bryant, we all know, is the treacherous bitch who died during the explosion, okay? And so her father comes and he's telling Lou, I'm going to get you out of here. It was Judy's last wish. I don't know if you remember. That was what I thought. I was like, you know, wouldn't it be great if there was a spinoff and they did this? So I did just that in my fan fiction. I wrote that Judy Bryant's father, Ron Bryant, he helps Lou get out of prison. But it's not because he wants to help her and he wants to honor his daughter's last wish. It's because he wants to kill her himself. She comes out of jail and he's following her around. You know, Lou immediately goes to Michelle's house. So Michelle helps her. And so the whole time, Ron is following Lou around, but Lou has no idea. So Lou ends up going and she wants to make right some wrongs that happened. So as we all remember in season 9, we saw that Reb Keen's mom sends Lou a letter. In that letter, there's a picture of his headstone, all right? And in his headstone, it says, it refers to Reb as her. May she rest in peace. So Lou goes and she fucking buys Reb a brand new headstone with the money that she made Irina Malenkovich give her, because at some point she embezzles some money out of Irina. Irina, I forgot to tell you, ends up being the top dog. She ends up top dog because the women find out that she's the daughter of the head of this Russian mafia family and they don't want to fuck with her. That's the only reason why she ends up top dog. You know what I'm saying? She's afraid of Lou. And there's a very specific reason why she's afraid of Lou. And I wrote it into the fan fiction, but it didn't make it into any of the scenes. So I'm not going to tell you now, but I will be including it in season 2. So Lou goes, she buys Reb a brand new headstone. She destroys the headstone that the mother got him and buys him a new one. And while she's in the cemetery crying at her one true love's grave, Reb's mother pops up. Now, I didn't know what her name was, but in the envelope it says O. Keen. So I gave her the name Ophelia. I think that's such a beautiful name. Lou and Reb's mother get into some shit and Lou ends up bashing this bitch upside the head several times with a brick. And she leaves her for dead. It's all over the news. Michelle sees it and she's like, damn it, Lou Kelly. You know what I'm saying? Some things never change. Besides killing Reb's mother, Lou Kelly had a plan. Lou Kelly's freedom would have been hers a lot sooner had it not been for Rita Connors dragging her off of that fence like she ain't got no damn sense. Bitch, you're not a cop no more. You're a fucking inmate. Get your filthy fucking paws off of my precious baby love. How dare you grab her like this and manhandle her and throw her to the ground? I'm still not over that shit. So that happened. So Lou Kelly is out for revenge. She wants revenge against Rita Connors. Rita and Ruby have opened up their own boxing gym, okay? Lou Kelly goes, she scopes out the place, and then she recruits Michelle to help her lure Rita to the house, to Michelle's house. So Michelle goes, she makes up some bullshit story about how she needs private boxing lessons to defend herself against her crazy ass ex-boyfriend or whoever the fuck it was that might come back to try to beat the shit out of her. It was all a lie, but it worked. Why? Because Michelle threw Boomer's name around. Off of the strength that Michelle was Boomer's people's, Rita agrees. So Rita ends up knocking on the door. When she knocks on the door, she was late. So she's like, oh, my bad, I'm late, blah, blah, blah. But she was looking down. And then when she looks up, she sees that it's not Michelle who opened the door. It's fucking Lou Kelly. Lou Kelly then punches her fucking lights out and takes her hostage inside Michelle's house. And in the final episode, everything comes to an explosive end. They're going back and forth and they're talking their shit, and we find out a little bit more about Lou Kelly's backstory. We find out that Lou Kelly's father was a police officer. officer, okay? And he was a terrible, terrible man. We don't know everything that he did, but we know that he's corrupt in all ways, which means this man was a fucking bastard, all right? In season 2, we find out more about Luke Kelly's dad as well. So we also find out during this little conversation how Luke Kelly got her infamous nickname, Fingers Kelly. We know that she got her nickname Fingers Kelly because she cuts off fingers. Whose finger was first? You know what I'm saying? How did this whole finger thing happen? So, the first fingers that she ever cut off were the fingers of her father, okay? Her father was a touchy-feely kind of guy in my fan fiction. And in retaliation for all the things that he touched, okay, Luke Kelly decided, I'm gonna cut your fingers off. And she cuts all 10 of his fingers off. And needless to say, he retired after that. Because in her words, you can't be a cop if you can't shoot a gun. And you can't shoot a gun if you don't have any fingers. Fingers Kelly, motherfuckers. In this interaction with Rita, she cuts off Rita's finger. She cuts off her pinky finger. Rita ends up, telling her we're going to fight, blah, blah, blah. And in that moment, what happens? Ron, Judy's father, comes in. And so now he's telling Lou, I only got you out because I was going to kill you. And in the middle of that, who comes? I come and save my precious baby love from being killed by this man who wants to avenge his piece of shit daughter's death. All right? I'm not having it. Nobody's going to hurt Luke Kelly on my watch. Let me just say that. So I come and I talk my shit and then I blow Judy Bryant's father's head the fuck off. And then I leave to start the car. Lou's left behind with Rita. She's gonna kill her. Instead, they start fighting. In the midst of them fighting, Lou grabs the gun. She shoots at Rita. She misses. And the cops hear the gunshots. They start shooting. So now there's a shootout. And we don't know who's been shot. But then we see Rita run out. So she's safe. And then we see Lou being carried out in handcuffs. So she's safe. There was a death in this shootout. We'll find out exactly what happened come season 2. So now we're back to the whole Vera and Joan and Jake. The whole thing ends with Jake professing his love to Vera, telling her that he wants her back, he wants his family back, and Vera gives in. And they make beautiful love. And in the middle of their lovemaking, the bell rings. And it's Joan Ferguson. She's frantic. She wants to know what's happened to her sister. She heard about her sister's death on the news. So she wants to know what happened. In the middle of all of this, Jake sees her, flips the fuck out, and decides, I'm not gonna let you hurt my family. And he goes and he starts choking the life out of Joan Ferguson. And Vera sees this happening. And Vera, out of instinct, goes, she grabs the closest thing to her, which was a hammer, and she cracks Jake upside the head, leaving him dead. Leaving Joan to proclaim, he's dead. You saved my life. And that is how my fan fiction ends, all right? Now, the ending was going to be totally different. It was going to be Joan who killed Jake. It was going to be originally Joan that kills him. The scene was that Jake confesses to Vera that he's the one who took Luna, the cat. And he tells her he did all of this because he loves her and wants to be with her, wants his family back. And Vera won't have any of it. So she flips the fuck out. Jake ends up spazzing out and attacking Vera. And in the middle of this, Joan, who had been hiding in the apartment already there, having come to talk to Vera about something else, pops out and cracks Jake over the head. But then I said to myself, no, because that's predictable and it's very reminiscent to what happened between Vera and Joan. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change it. But I changed it at the fucking very last minute. I was like, yo, no, Vera's gonna kill him instead because she is a murderer, all right? She killed her mother. I'm never gonna fucking let anybody forget about that. So that's how the fan fiction ends. So in season 2, what we're gonna be expecting is Luke Kelly and Michelle Ramirez are gonna be coming to Wentworth. Lou is going to be returning to Wentworth. Michelle is gonna be entering Wentworth for the very first time. An American in Wentworth. Ay, Dios mío. So that's going to be one storyline. You know what I'm saying? How is Boomer going to react when she sees Michelle again? Rita is also going to be coming back into the prison. What's going to happen when she arrives? We also are going to have the Who Killed Sasha storyline. How is Irina going to deal with the death of her mom? How is she going to seek retaliation? Is she even going to seek retaliation? You know what I'm saying? Will Mila want to retaliate as well? Let's talk a little bit about Mila and Dr. Miller and Irina. So if you were able to tell by the episodes, Mila secretly is jealous of Irina. She's secretly jealous of her because Irina had her mom and had her dad. Meanwhile, Mila was raised without either of them. It wasn't until later on that she finds out about Dr. Miller being her father, which is the real reason why these two motherfuckers are even in Australia. Mila lied to Irina and told her we're going to go to Australia on vacation, but the real reason was because she wanted to meet her dad, who she found in Australia under the name Dr. Miller. So now I want to talk a little bit about behind the scenes, and I'm going to insert some clips of what went into making one of these videos, like the editing process and the writing process, and I'm going to just show you little clips of that. And so you could see, you know, what goes into making one of these episodes, because the shit takes me days. Like this final episode 10 took me 5 days. They were redoing the bathroom last week. You know what I'm saying? So that whole week I was in hell and trying to edit. But normally if I just concentrate from the beginning to the end of the day, it could take me like 3 to 4 days to make an episode of this fan fiction. All right, so I'm going to insert the clips now so that you could see a little bit of behind the scenes. This little clip is going to be showing you some of the editing process. So what happens is I'll say like a certain line one way and I may not like it, so I say it again, and then I start cracking up, and then there's like background noises, so I got to cut all of that stuff out of the video. So I'm going to play this video and show you how I edit things out. This is from episode 9, and it was Joan finding out that her sister had been arrested.
Transit back to Wentworth Correctional Center, where she will be held on remand until a judge considered safe for her murder trial.
So I sound crazy as hell. Let's just keep going.
More news at 11.
So now I'm going to give you Joan's response to this.
Joan, no.
So you saw how I say Joan? That's me letting myself know that Joan is the character who is now speaking. That way I don't get confused. Because everybody sounds the same, if you ask me. Because, you know, it's me doing the voices. So when I say her name, Joan, I cut that out. So I have to wait until the first sentence is finished, and then I do this.
Currently in transit back to Wentworth Correctional Center, where she will be held on remand until a judge considered safe for her murder trial. More news at 11.
So I stop it there, and then I click it, and then I got to click on split. So that splits the scene, right? So now we've got 2 different clips. Here is the clip of the news report. Here is the clip of what remains. So I'll click on the clip, press play.
Joan.
Pause. Click on the clip again, split it. So now that little piece is where it says Joan, where I said Joan.
Joan.
I delete it and get the hell out of there, right? So now it'll go from this clip of the news.
More news at 11. No.
So what just happened there? So that was me saying no 3 times. So it's Joan saying no as a response to what she's seen on the news, but I didn't like the first one. I didn't like the first no. Let's hear it again.
No.
I hated it, so I try again.
No.
That third no sounds fucking crazy. And right after I say it, I start laughing. I'm going to stop this here and I'm going to clip that so I can remove my laughter. before I decide on which no is going to make it into the episode. So I laugh now.
End of scene.
And then I say end of scene. So all of that, clearly is not going to stay. So I click it, split it, click on it again, delete the shit. Delete it. Sometimes I have to, touch it several times. So now...
More news at 11. No.
I don't like that first one. So I stopped it there. Click, split it, click it again. Hurry the fuck up, you dots. Delete it. So now it'll go straight from...
More news at 11. No. No.
And I stop it there.
No. Scene number 9. Over in Wentworth, Vera, Jake, and Will are frantic.
This part here where I say...
Scene number 9. Over in Wentworth, Vera, Jake, and Will are frantic.
All of that has to be cut out. That's just letting me know that that's what's going on in the scene. So there's a bunch of narrating that I write, but I don't include it in the video because I wanted to make the videos feel like actual episodes. But whatever. So I click on that, click on this, delete that.
Jake.
See? Jake's name. Stop it there. Cut it out. Delete it. So...
Oh, is it true?
Okay, so you see how it goes from one scene to the next. So in order for that not to happen, what I would have done is... Hold on. Put that back. So this little clip here...
Jake.
Right? I'll mute it. Right? And then that's where I put shit like this. Meanwhile, back in Wentworth. Oh boy. Meanwhile, back in... I'm going to just do this with the W's just to show. That's not the font that I like. So now I got to go into the damn shit. And listen to me. If you don't show me my list of fonts, okay. So I go here and I pick the one that I use for these videos, which is Berkshire Swash, or whatever the fuck that means. But that's the font that I pick. Then I gotta go to the color, change the color to the fucking teal, all right? Bloop. And, add my dots. Hurry up. Why are you doing this? It's like there's like a delay today. So I do that. I make it a little bit bigger. Oh, there's like a big delay today, and I don't like it. So I do that, right? Then I gotta trim that and make it the same size. But normally what I do, leave me alone. What I do is I extend that a little longer. So it'll be like that, right? Then what happens? Now I have to add animations. So I usually zoom this part in and fade it out. And so what you see is this.
No.
Meanwhile, back in Wentworth, right? But then that's not all. Then I got to add the music, which is transition number 3. Even though in last, I've had this one. This is the normal transition sound, right? I've been using this one for the last episode, though. So I think I'm going to stick with that because I like that one better. Shorten it to be the same thing. Go to the fade. I like to fade this one in 8 seconds, all right? And the same thing for the fade out. Because it just makes it sound nicer when it comes in.
Is it true?
Then, we continue the editing process. So that right there, that it was just literally a couple of seconds worth of video. And this is not even all of it because you see how the color is kind of red? What I'll do is I'll go in to my stickers and then click on the sticker, and then I scroll all the way to the bottom because that's where it is, and look for it. Bloop, the black square. So I take this black square and I do that. I fill the screen with it, and then I stretch it, all the way to the beginning, and I'll do it all the way to the end as well. So now it looks better. Watch.
Oh. No.
See? So that's how that happens. So the first step in doing this is that black screen. And so I'll put the black screen on the whole freaking video, and then I'll save it. And so to save 24 minutes worth of video usually takes about 30 to 40 minutes with this damn thing. So I'll do that first and then start the editing process. Okay, that's not even involving the pictures, you know? So let me try to show you how to do the fucking photos. Let me get to a picture of Joan. This whole scene with Joan saying no, no.
No. No!
So what I'll do is I'll go into my stickers, right? Click on add, and then it takes fucking forever to just show me my list of photos. The reason why it does this is because there are so many photos on my memory card that it has, you know, done this. So now there's a fucking delay. Before, this shit used to just pop up. I would click that little plus sign and my pictures would pop up. Now every time I want to add a picture, this is how long I have to wait. This is real time, folks. All right? Look at that. How long was that? So anyway, we've got all of these pictures. Oh my God, look at me in this picture right here. Looking like the Incredible Hulk in mid-fucking mutation. Ay, Dios mío. So I'll go here, right? And then I will look for Joan, Sasha, and Russia. I'll click on that and try to find a picture of this bitch that matches, you know, the horror of her saying no, no. So here, I don't think I have any really good ones. I think if she wasn't in uniform, this would have been a good one. So now, what happens next? Maybe this one? I don't know. So I just do this. I go through the fucking photos because I've got more. Lou and me. Oh my God. Let's just look at the pictures of me and Lou Kelly, shall we? Really quick. So this is it. It's just a bunch of fucking screenshots, all right? Oh my God. This was on our wedding day. So it's a bunch of screenshots and I basically just pick. So I'm going to, for fuck's sake, I'm going to just pick one. Go back to Joan. Because this is becoming an ordeal in itself. I'm just going to fucking pick this guy. So I'll pick a photo, right? And then I make it big. Make it the way that I want it. Shorten it. And then, see, now this is another thing. So I don't know if I can zoom into this. Can I? No, that's not going to help things. All right. So you see how that little thing has a beginning and an end? In order to get a smooth transition, instead of putting it to the end there, I have to bring it to the end on the other side. So I stop it there, if that made any fucking sense. Then we'll see.
More news at 11. No. No!
So that's what happens. So it's a constant fucking thing of looking for pictures. Sometimes I don't have to go through the stress and the picture will be here already if I want to reuse a photo, and it's kind of easier to find it that way. That was just me showing you how the editing process goes so that you could kind of get an idea as to how long the shit fucking takes. All right, world. So that was it, man. That was it for this Wentworth the Reckoning fan fiction recap / breakdown / whatever the fuck you want to call this. And I hope you guys are excited for season 2 because I am so excited to tell this story. I'm going to be putting a little twist on this story. Not a twist. The way season 2 story is going to be told is going to be different. I hope you guys like it because I'm so excited about it. But that's it, world. If you like this video, you already know what to do. Like my shit, subscribe to my channel, ring the fucking notification bell so you can be alerted when I post videos in the future. And that is it, world. Thank you so much for watching.